Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So for the month of August, I did no caffeine. It was 31 days of absolute hell, and I want to talk about it. Credit where it's due. Throughout this video, I'm going to refer to a lot of studies that were pulled from the Huberman Lab podcast. I love listening to Andrew Huberman. If you haven't listened to him, I would definitely recommend it. Did you know that 90% of adults in the world consume a caffeinated beverage every day? 90%. That's a staggering number. And I am one of those adults. I have had caffeine, I think, every day since I was like 8 years old. And in the fitness community, as we all know, it's even more prominent than it is outside of the fitness community, especially with energy drinks and pre-workouts and things like that. And I was definitely over-consuming, and so I really just wanted to cut it out. My main motivation was just a self-discipline reasons. I wanted to be able to tell myself that if this was a vice that I could stop it. And then secondly, I also wanted my baseline to be lower. I just feel like as you drink more caffeine, the baseline kind of rises. And again, that's something I learned from Andrew Huberman, but I just wanted the baseline to be lower so that maybe I can consume less throughout the day and still get the benefits of having caffeine. So another reason to not drink caffeine is because it affects your sleep patterns pretty negatively. But essentially, when you drink caffeine close to bedtime, it's disrupting your quality of sleep, not necessarily the sleep itself. So the way that Huberman says it is the architecture of your sleep is different.
However, as we'll soon talk about, there is a problem with ingesting caffeine in the afternoon if it falls within 8 or 10 or dare I even say 12 hours of going to sleep. And that is the caffeine ingested in the afternoon disrupts the architecture and quality of their nighttime sleep. And I should say that it doesn't necessarily impact their ability to fall asleep and maybe even sleep through the night, but that the depth and quality of that sleep is disrupted by consuming caffeine in the afternoon.
You know, your REM cycle is different and essentially recovery is different. So for me, that's a big motivating factor. As a natural athlete, you know, recovery is paramount. And so sacrificing recovery because you want to drink caffeine late or, you know, just drinking too much caffeine doesn't seem worth it to me. So I really would like to be able to drink caffeine just in the morning and be done with it, say 8 to 10 hours before I go to bed. So let's talk about my experience going for a month without caffeine. I first want to say that I have struggled with and moved away from, by the grace of God, a lot of substances in my life. And I think that caffeine is right up there at the top. At least it was for me. I did this with my boss at work. He decided we should do this together, so it was I got to see kind of his reaction to it as well. And he actually told me it wasn't quite as bad for him as it was for me. Maybe he doesn't drink as much as I do on a daily basis. That could be it. But I remember him saying even 4 days into it, "Oh man, this isn't too bad." I really didn't feel like it was very comfortable at all the entire time. I just kept having that gut reaction to wanting to go back to it. So even as it compares to nicotine or tobacco, it's up there. Maybe like 70, 80% as bad as nicotine withdrawal. So yeah, it's definitely a drug. That definitely drove that home for me. I did have headache and withdrawal symptoms within the first week or so. After that, it wasn't as bad as a headache, but it was just more of a mental connection to being used to drinking it and being ready to drink it. Even if it wasn't a withdrawal symptom, it was just kind of that natural mental tick of being used to using it. I will say people noticed a difference in my behavior in the first couple of days, particularly my coworkers. Just maybe lethargy, less talking. People just felt like I was a little different, which I think is funny to note, that it really was that much of a noticeable difference in my behavior. So during the early stages, I did use decaf, but I did stop after about a week and a half because I just wanted it to be absolutely no caffeine. And then also another notable substitute was actually soda water. Now again, I work in a bar, so I have access to it right off the gun. But I was drinking a lot of soda water, and actually after the fact, I was doing some research about soda water and the benefits, and it turns out that it is actually really helpful in kind of curbing addictions. I didn't realize that when I was doing it, but it helped a lot to have soda water to drink, and it feels like it kind of just fills up your stomach and you don't want to drink anything else. I don't know what it is about that, but that's just how it worked for me anyway. So soda water was actually kind of a nice substitute. And then for me, the thing that was the absolute worst about it was this midday lull, like that 2 o'clock, 3 p.m. Just lull that you hit where I don't know, for me, it's worse than the morning, is that point around 2 p.m. where you really feel like you want another cup of coffee. And that actually lasted all the way through, the whole month. Now I'm back to drinking a couple of cups a day, I would say. Staying away from energy drinks, pre-workout, things like that. I usually just drink a cup of coffee and then I'll maybe have 1 or 2 more when I'm at work. But I have been pretty good about being done drinking coffee around 2 o'clock. So hopefully I can keep it up. That's been my experience. Yes, it's definitely an addiction. I'm glad I did it. The baseline does feel like it changed now. 2 cups of coffee is totally plenty for me. And yeah, I'm glad I did it. Probably wouldn't do it again, but that was my experience. Cheers.